Hell's Paradise continues to be the #1 thing I look forward to on Saturdays. We got sick fight animations, emotional stakes, compelling character moments. All of these and more make for an incredible watching experience. Today's episode is titled Strength and Weakness, which are very core themes to the nature of Hell's Paradise, which is not only prevalent through the power system of Tao that we'll come to know more about as the series goes on, but also in the pairings of Asimon clan executioners and the many criminals that make up this spectacular cast. Throughout the episode's duration, we got little sneak previews at the many different characters that will be arriving on this island, but who will survive and make it back home and who will ultimately die. I think it's very obvious from the get-go that anyone that doesn't have the bravery and the mental fortitude to stay on task will ultimately meet an untimely end. And the sole reason for this is because they lacked balance. I for one think it's such a unique concept to have it formatted this way. Having the guard and the prisoner work together is ultimately what's going to lead to the success of this mission. On this island, it's basically the law of the jungle. The Asimon clan really could not care less if the prisoners kill each other off, but will step in if one of their own is in trouble. When Gabimaru faces off against Keiun, he ends up killing him brutally, and Keisho, the guardian in charge of him, really could not care less. It's actually good for him because now he has an excuse to go home, and it's this statement that ultimately drives a wedge between Gabimaru and Saigiri's little relationship, because as soon as Keisho leaves, they immediately start fighting. I'm talking full-on, action-packed, flips in the air. It was just really good. Another very important theme of this episode is just the coming to terms with your emotions and accepting that compassion is not really a weakness but instead a powerful ally. Gabimaru really does struggle with this, as he was born and raised by the ninja chief of Iwagakure, who literally slaughtered his parents in front of him after they had just given birth, had up until this point conditioned him to not feeling any sorts of emotions and making him a killing machine. As a ninja assassin, he had to carry out a lot of very difficult missions, killing people that may have actually been innocent, but because the pay was so high, he knew he had to see it through to the end for the glory and honor of his village. He was very brutal with his methods, killing mercilessly. That is until, of course, he met his wife. I know we keep on coming back to this, but just hear me out. When certain people become part of your life, it can change you as a person for better or for worse, depending on who that person is. And Gabimaru, whose life had been consumed by darkness and was taught that killing was the only way that he would ever live, meeting this person that taught him compassion and was completely against him killing and teaching him that it was normal to not have the desire to kill anyone was ultimately what changed Gabimaru as a person and as a character. But of course, because Gabimaru needs to fight and kill and claw his way out of this situation to find the elixir of life and return home, he needs to turn back into the heartless killer that he was before. And in the end of this episode, it seems that they do kind of finally make up. Gabimaru comes to terms with the fact that he doesn't need to kill her anymore and he doesn't need to kill Saigiri, and it's because he has this little angel on his shoulder and this devil on his shoulder. It's some really cool imagery between the village chief and the village chief's daughter, acting as the two different voices inside his head, telling him the difference between right and wrong. And Saigiri chimes in on this whole thing too. She obviously can't see the voices going on to Gabimaru's head, so I want to believe that it was also mostly her that made him sheath his sword, and ultimately I think the two decide here and now to trust each other so that they might work together to get off this hell of an island. Because boy, this island is creepy as hell. I do believe that Yuji Kaku's art really does shine the brightest when he's portraying very scary and dark and honestly kind of disturbing imagery. And Hell's Paradise being his very first successful work, I do believe that this is how he solidified his art style and his style in terms of storytelling. The many different creatures that inhabit this island are bone-chilling. You would not want to run into any of these that I'm showing on screen right now. They are just absolutely horrifying. Ugh. Anyways, I do believe that this is, again, another 10 out of 10 episode. The plot is progressing a lot faster now, as we did cover 3 whole chapters this time around, wrapping up volume 1 of the manga, and I cannot wait for next Saturday. If you guys enjoy these videos and continue to enjoy these videos, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below, as I would love to continue covering this series weekly. As always, I've been K2, and I'll see you guys next time.